Okay, my replacement 600 watt grid tie inverter came today. It's only been a month, and it feels to me like it's been pretty beat up. I mean, the package is all crushed. I can feel the unit in there. So, unlike the other one that just had a little bit of crushing on it, this one here seems to have taken a pretty good beating because they just put them in a plastic bag, no bubble wrap or anything like that. You know? And then they send them on their way. Anything the cheapest they can do. Meanwhile, it cost me 10 bucks to have this replacement one shipped out. So here's how the box arrived, all beat up like that. Yeah, all beat up like that. The seal on there is so dry, they probably had them for a few years. These things here are supposed to be filled with air, but you know, it obviously took some beatings because these ones here are deflated. Really disappointed in the way that it was shipped. Even one of the caps for the fuse things came off. Well, there it is. One of the caps had fallen off in shipping. Everything else seems okay. It doesn't appear that they actually took it out and tested it. I'm looking at this, and it's either cut weird or bowed out, and it looks to me like it's cut weird, the metal. There's a dip in that metal, the way it's stamped, where they put the socket in. That's what you get when you get stuff that's made by the commies, eh? It's a 600 watt, 10.5 volts to 28 volts DC, and the output is supposed to be 90 to 140 volt AC. So the last one, it wouldn't sync up. This one here, we'll hook it up and see what happens in a bit, but I want to open it up and I want to also check the barcode and see if the barcode's the same. If they just sent me another piece of the same crap. I won't deal with these Chin Yang hose anymore. So that's it. Okay, well, I have it open up and I can't see anything right offhand that looks any different. So they look both identical to me inside. I haven't checked the value on the drivers or anything like that. But the transformers are the same voltage. The only difference is the new one has a red stripe on it. And I've worked on some 110 volt ones before that have had a red stripe on them. So other than that, I don't know. Maybe they're both 110 and there was a problem with it and it don't work. I don't know. But right offhand, without checking the value of the drivers, I can't see anything different. The layout's exactly the same. There's no wiring configuration or anything like that, so it's just bullshit because they don't have a number on the board, and that's where the number needs to be, not on a fucking sticker. Yeah. So this is the one that don't work. This is the one that might work. I'm gonna put it together and tomorrow I'll check it out outside, hook it up to the solar panel and see if it works. I could be stuck with 2 pieces of junk for parts for my fucking 120 bucks. We're out here hooked up again. We don't have any sunlight, but with this amount of daylight here, I should be producing anywhere from 2 to 15 watts with 4 panels. That's 2 panels to each inverter. Now, if you look up here, you can see I've disconnected the inverter on this side to hook up the one that doesn't work, which is here. The other one has the green light on, but is moving very slowly, so it's producing but not producing much because there's no direct sunlight. So this one here is just teetering at the point where it's producing a little, going off, because we're right at that voltage level right now. This one here, again, I still have my fancy little flashing lights again, and this is the replacement one. This one has a different barcode on it. I opened it up to see if I could see a difference, and everything looks identical. The transformers are the same voltage, 16 volts by 230 volts. In my opinion, they should be 16 volts by 110 volts. Now that I got two of these hunk of junk, what I'm going to do in a little while is I'm going to hook it up to a 110-220 converter. Now the converter that I got is just a small one, so it doesn't have the capability to handle anything like 200, 300, 400 watts, so I have to do it when it's not under direct sunlight, because I think it's only like 50 watts or something like that, even if it's that. So I'm going to wait until it gets a little brighter out here, and then I'm going to try it. One of two things is going to happen. The unit's going to blow up, or it's going to work. And I expected to have that thing in operation for July and August, which is my highest air conditioning season. Now, we've been lucky this last month. It's been really cool, so the air conditioning hasn't been that high. And with the energy efficient air conditioners, I mean, even when I'm using them at normal capacity, I'm way under budget on my hydro bill with this year. So I'm doing good, but the point is, this damn thing should be working, and it's not. I have this hooked up to these two panels over here. Each one of these panels is 100 watts. It outputs probably 17 to 19 volts. I forget the exact voltage. One of these, this one, is seconds. I got a deal on it. I didn't really think it's that good of a deal. I can see the swirls and imperfections in the coatings of the cells. I don't know if that will eventually interfere with their power output. I can see right through some of them. They're so translucent. As well as there's no holes drilled in the aluminum framing. So for mounting, I got to take a chance in damaging it by trying to drill holes in the aluminum framing. I saved probably $40 over the cost of this one. This one here, delivered, buying it within Canada from an eBay seller in Mississauga, I paid $200 with shipping by the time I paid tax and shipping and stuff on it. Now, for grid tie inverters, you may want to go with something a little higher powered. These are classed as 12 volts, but they can go up to 20 volts actually. No load, so you don't want to hook two of these up to one in series, or you'll blow a grid tie inverter. I know so many people that have done that, and they've hooked them up because they think the panels are 12 volts, and they know that their grid tie inverter will handle 28 volts. So they hook two of these up in series, and then pop, the sun comes out, and there goes their grid tie inverter. Well, the truth of the matter is, like I say, these things can output as much as 20 volts at different times of the year, depending on how cold they are, depending on, you know, the distance to the sun, what time of year it is, and a few other factors. So if you're going to use them with one of those grid tie inverters and hook them up in series, you need to hook them up with a charge controller and a battery. And then you just set the level where you want the battery to shut the DC power outage off, and that'll protect your batteries. Now, if you want it on at a different time, use large storage batteries, and you can control with your charge controller basically when you want it to output to the grid tie inverter. If you want almost instant conversion, like during real time, during daytime like I do, especially on peak, what you'd want to do is use relatively small batteries that don't hold a lot, but they will still have that effect of acting like a capacitor and regulating the voltage so it doesn't exceed 27 volts. Oh yeah, she's still blinking. Blinky. I don't even think I can leave bad feedback for the guy now because it's been so long. That's what pisses me off, because, you know, they dealt with me. The problem is there's no quality control, right? There's no company to deal with. There's no quality control. You're dealing with a seller who does not reveal his source, and the problem is with his source, right? So who do you deal with? You send it back to him with one of these. There, that's a nice healthy one. Open it up and shove that inside it and send it back to the guy. Tell him that's what it's worth. That's what it's worth, buddy. Never mind. I'll edit this shit out. I'm just pissed right now because I waited a fucking month for that piece of crap to come and it does exactly the same thing. So it's time to blow one up. Okay, I got the first one there that they sent me. This was the replacement over here. And as you can see, it's doing the same blinking thing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to disconnect the power in there. And then I'm going to configure it with this and see if it makes a difference. This is a 220 volt to 110 volt step up, step down transformer. I wish I had a 3-prong one because I don't know if it'll make a difference. This is 50 watts, so I should be fine this time of day. I shouldn't be producing any more than 50 watts. Like I say, it should do one of two things. It should either work or it should blow it up. You know, if they don't have any protection circuitry for over voltage protection. Okay, so what we got here is it's turned off inside. It's going from the inverter, going in the 220 side, and this side here to the extension cord is the 110 side. What I'm going to do is go in there, plug in this meter, and then power it up and see if it blows or if it works. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll set it up on this chair here. That's a good idea. Yeah. We'll set it up on the chair here. If we can get it in an angle that'll let us view it. I gotta get something to prop it up. Actually, let's try and move it around so we can get a look at those lights when it comes on. Okay, that looks pretty good there. I'll go in and power it up, and you guys can sit up here and watch it blow up. No, it didn't make any difference. Didn't blow up, but it didn't make any difference. So it must have something wrong with the circuitry inside it. They must have screwed up. Some Chinaman put in the wrong parts or something. and they don't work. They're just a piece of crap, because right now going to the inverter is 220 going in. It down steps it to the extension cord back to 110 or 120. Alright, I'm all set up for my second test of, I shouldn't say my second test, my first test of the replacement grid tie inverter. Now, before I do that, I want to take a look at these results. Right now, what I'm looking at is my peak for what I have out there, which I have 4 100-watt panels hooked up to 2 of the Greenergy Star 400-watt grid tie inverters, and my peak power production would be 349.9 watts with the 2 inverters combined. That's with 2 panels to each inverter. So what I'm hoping to achieve is to get up a little higher, get over the 350 and closer to the 400 mark by going to a larger one to run the 2, and going to the 2 smaller ones to run 1 panel each. The idea is this peak amount is not what you're going to get consistently. Consistently you're getting about 250 to 285. This is just what you're going to get when it's cold. You know, the sun comes out after an overcast and you get that nice peak power for, you know, maybe, you know, 30 to 45 seconds, maybe even a couple minutes until it starts heating up and slowing down the inverters. Right now, I have this running to pull the battery voltage down a little, so the battery voltage is within range. It's at about 25 volts. I'm hooked up. Right now I don't have any voltage coming here. I'm going to turn on my circuit breaker and see what happens. Okay, so we're showing 25.25 volts DC. We're set for wattage range. Same shit. Same shit. Same crap, man. I looked in it and I seen that the damn transformers were the same and I was leery. Okay, so someone mentioned that they recommended no more than 18 volts for these. That's not what I read in the specs, but just to eliminate the fact that I might have been overpowering it, I went to a single 12 volt UPS battery in a single configuration. I'm at 13.65 volts. Minimum voltage here is 10.5 supposedly, and I still have the same problem. So it doesn't matter if I increase the voltage to 26 volts.
15 plus years.
Basically the same thing happens. Watch, I'll reconfigure it. Okay, we're 27.9.
12 sermons on spiritual perfection. As you listen to the message today, you're not going to talk about the perfectionism of legalism.
27.9, and it's supposed to go to 28 volts.
He's going to use,
or 27.29, sorry. I misread that. So 27.29 volts. That's with the UPS at float right now. So my batteries are up. That will drive, what's down there will drive a 1400 watt UPS, so it can certainly drive one of these.
to a consecrated dedication.